G'day, I'm Waz.
And I'm Nic, sometimes Coxie, mostly Nic.
This is the Tradies in Business podcast, and we're here to share a bunch of tips, ideas, tactics that you can put in place to get change happening in your trade business right now.
If you're really lucky, we're going to entertain you with a few mum jokes, and more importantly, a bunch of fantastic guests that will educate you in all things you need to know about trade business. But we do promise to do it with a whole bunch of fun along the way.
I'm a self-confessed idiot, so strap yourself in and enjoy another episode.
I'm pumped that these Friday episodes are back because I don't have to find another joke. And you must be pumped because you don't have to fake laugh through another joke.
Yes, and I get to be cranky, shitty, miserable, cynical. I just get to be me on these Friday episodes.
I found something on social media the other day that I had not seen before. It was from a comedian called Geraldine. Oh, I can't remember your surname, Geraldine. I'm so dreadfully sorry. Should you ever be listening to my humble little podcast? Anyway, she was talking about, through COVID, we had the Karen thing. All the women were Karens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
you've had a couple of Karen moments, Coxie.
I do a good Karen when I need to do a good Karen. Turns out that there's a Nicole.
Oh,
Nicole's the organizer in the group. Nicole is legitimately me. And it blew me away. And she was talking about how every group has a Nicole. And the Nicole is the organizer. She'll be the one that organizes and pays for everything. And you just got to pay her back and she'll get it sorted. It is me. It is absolutely me.
Right.
It's bizarre.
am pretty confident that there's not a Warwick character.
I don't know whether the Warwick might be the male equivalent of Karen, although there was a name for the male equivalent of Karen.
And it wasn't Warwick.
It was. It wasn't Warwick.
No, I'm way too unique for that, Coxie. I think I summed myself up in the intro to this episode. So we're going to move on from that. And we're going to have a bit of a rant. It's a Friday. It's a fucking Friday episode. G'day, listeners. Hope you're feeling shitty about something this morning.
Just rolls off your tongue and not for a moment's hesitation do you think, oh, I don't know who's listening. Let's remind them it's a Friday. It's just I'm going to be straight into the swear bear.
Yeah, just go the fuck word. It's time. The curtains. No, the curtains are back. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, we want to put something on the table here, listeners, and it is. So we're going to have a rant about you, actually, not you, Nicole.
No,
we're having a rant about tradies. Ooh,
we are.
This is a bit paradoxical or something.
Well, it is.
The right word?
Last week weren't we bagging out everyone else, bagging out tradies?
Yeah, we were sticking up for tradies, and today we're gonna sink the boot in.
We are, and it might hurt a little.
And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you would know that Coxie and I are. Well, I hope you know. If you don't, then I don't know where you've been hiding, but you would probably know that Coxie and I are passionate, vehement supporters of the tradies and particularly tradie business owners, which is obviously our jam. We've both had a lot to do with them over the years, and so we think they get the prickly end of the pineapple way too often. But today, we're turning the blowtorch onto you listening to this as a tradie in business because we think you're doing a shit job of something and it has to stop. It has to stop.
This became very evident over this week when we spoke to quite a few of our community who were already feeling burnt out. And what are we? We're in midway through the second month of the year and they're already feeling burnt out. And with some careful questioning, it was very easy, which isn't fair and true, for us to see why they were feeling burnt out. And in 100% of the cases, they were feeling burnt out because they were allowing themselves to be taken advantage of. There, I said it.
Now, I reckon, this is almost a main episode where we get all teachy and preachy and stuff. And that's kind of what we do. So it's a Friday episode where we get teachy and preachy and we say the word fuck. So that makes it a fucking Friday. That's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, easy.
The reality of this is, and I think something that a lot of coaches don't do a very good job of, myself included, is speak directly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always the best way, and I think we could probably all speak a little more directly more of the time. Even you listening to this, I'm sure you could be more direct with the people around you, or you wish you were. And I'm beating around the bush already, Coxie.
You
You need
are.
to go Karen on me.
No, I'm just
You
going
need
to
to
let
go Karen on me.
I'm giving you the rope. You can do it for yourself.
There's this way of talking about being taken advantage of, like it's the other person that's doing it to us.
Yes.
And it's like, well, I can't help it. You know, these fucking customers, they're all this and they're that. And then there's the government. And then there's all these family pressures and all this shit that just like, I don't know. You woke up one morning, you were a saint. And then all these other assholes just came and ruined your life.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is you actually went and walked outside, dropped your pants, bent over and said, come at me. Because it's not everyone else's doing that this is happening to you. Like we are the architects of our own lives.
Yep.
And as shit as that is to hear, and you might be listening to this and your ears have healed over and you're going, fuck you, Waz. Like, that's a load of crap. You don't understand my life. What would you know sitting there in your fancy office and living in paradise in Tasmania and copping the easy life? What would you know? Fair bit, Coxie.
Well, you and I have done a pretty good job of this ourselves over the years. Like,
I have had a queue of people ready to have a go at Waz's backside. And it was all my fault. It was me.
it's not a concept that we're unaware of or haven't experienced, that's for sure. We're certainly not talking from our ivory towers today. There's this concept in life coaching, if you like, and it's that we teach people how to treat us, and we are constantly teaching people how to treat us. It's a little bit like the other one where, the standard you walk past is the standard you accept. That's what you're constantly doing with the people around you. When you ignore the way somebody's treating you, when they're treating you poorly, you're accepting it. You're just bending over, pulling your pants down, which is a dreadful mental image.
But it's so true, Coxie.
But it's true.
It's like we try and make out that other people are doing these terrible things to us in business and with our time and not paying us and all that stuff. And it's you. And it starts to get this somewhat back on track, Coxie, from your thread that we both agreed to tackle in this episode today. And that is the thing that you're doing the shittest job of, listening to this, that's you listening, is taking care of yourself and honestly putting yourself first. And I think the thing that is not your fault, here you go, I'm going to let you off the hook. The thing that is not your fault is the imagery that has been created around that, or the misconception around what it means to put yourself first. I think what's been created is an idea that is selfish and arrogant and narcissistic, and that is a lie. It comes down to how you interpret that and how you actually put that in place in your life of putting yourself first. I get in strife with my gorgeous wife over this fairly regularly because I have chosen to take on my mother's way of being very self-sacrificing. And that's a selfish act. And this is the horrendous paradox in that I serve others first in most areas of my life because that's my way of avoiding truth, avoiding uncomfortable conversations. It's a way for me to make myself feel comfortable. It's deflecting things away from me, compliments, all sorts of stuff. So I'm not actually doing it for everybody else's benefit. I'm doing it for my own benefit. It's just a shitty benefit. It's not one that serves anybody in the long term.
Well, it's
just
depleting you,
avoidance.
right?
Yeah, 100%.
Whether you realize it or not, it's depleting you. And then therefore the depletion of you is what shows up to serve others anyway. So you're never giving of yourself. You're just caught in this dreadful circle.
And then I end up burned out and resentful and frustrated, and I have angry outbursts at people that I love for no there's no justifiable reason for that ever. And then I feel like shit anyway,
Mm.
because, I snapped at my wife, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, why would I even do that? And it's because we sacrifice, or people like me sacrifice, we take shit from others that we shouldn't. We're constantly, busting our ass to keep everybody else happy. And in our minds, we're keeping this list. This is not just me. I guarantee it's not just me.
Of course not.
In our minds, we're keeping this dumbass list of, great, another fucking weekend I don't get to go mountain bike riding. And there you go. See, I didn't get to go to the gym today because my friggin' kid needed his nappy changed at 4 a.m. And, my wife needs to sleep because she's breastfeeding. So I'll get up and do that and be a martyr about it. I don't do it outwardly. I'm not an outward martyr, but in my mind, I
Yeah.
have this voice in my head that no matter how hard I try, I cannot kill that bastard off.
Yep.
And he's just there with the check sheet going, well, you didn't go riding this weekend, and you didn't get to train in the gym, and you haven't read a book of your own choosing for 4 fucking months. And television, what's that? And don't even think about alcohol, Warwick. And like, there's this stupid laundry list of things. And then something happens and I lose my shit and I snap at my wife. Not that I'm, violent or anything, but, it's just that crappy emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just feel even worse.
I kind
Because I
of feel
didn't
like
take
this
care of
episode's
myself.
actually just all about you, Warwick. I
Oh,
feel
it's a
like
therapy session for Waz. We're going to rename these Friday episodes Waz's therapy sessions.
this is why you jumped on the bandwagon of the idea so quickly this morning.
Oh, you threw that one out there. I'm like, oh man, this is going to heal me.
Healed. Not going to happen. What is going to happen is people are going to listen to this and they're going to stop and they're going to think, fuck, I do this too. I really do. We all do. This is a thing. We all do. The only people in my life that I've seen not do this are narcissists, and they're generally doing it in a different way anyway. They've found another way to create the same outcome. And so I don't know that there's necessarily something we need to teach today. I think these episodes need to be just calling out a particular behavior.
No, Nicole, you're supposed to fix me.
No, I'm not going to fix everybody all the time. Sometimes I'm just going to
No,
make
just
you
me.
think.
You don't have to fix anybody else. Stuff them.
Warwick, I will happily be the person you yell at so that you don't yell at your gorgeous wife any day of the week. Might have almost happened once or twice this week through no fault of your own, to be fair. And I will always be there for you in that capacity. And so if our listeners need to vox through, well, they can't vox because they don't have us, but if they need to
get in the
message
Facebook
through
group and have a vent.
and have a rant, go for it. I'll listen to you. I got your back. But I am going to come and poke you in the chest and tell you created it in the first place.
But that's an excellent point you make, Coxie, is finding avenues to actually direct some of these feelings.
Yeah.
Is a way to take care of yourself. If I bring that back to the underlying theme here is you don't take care of yourself. You don't put yourself at first enough. Unless you're a narcissist, and then you should stop doing that because that's really shit. Except if you're a narcissist, you won't believe you're a narcissist because that's one of the things about being a narcissist. And if you say that enough times, it sounds really weird.
And you won't be listening to this anyway because you'll already
you're a narcissist.
do everything. So it's fine
Because you're already
not even listening.
Dear idea. So, finding appropriate avenues to let off steam. That's a really important way to take care of yourself, especially for the biological males that are listening to this episode.
I agree with you.
It's how we're wired. We bottle shit up and then we explode. It's the most common paradigm amongst men. And it is such an awful thing to be around. I was around it with my father, my grandfather, my uncles, all beautiful men, loved their families, but holy shit, did they go off at times. And it's awful.
Can I talk to the explode thing for a minute? Because I missed an opportunity yesterday when we were talking to someone about what exploding looks like, because there's an immediate assumption around what exploding looks like. And people assume that an explosion is some sort of, I'm going to use the word violent act. And it doesn't mean that it's, physically violent. It can be loudly violent. So somebody's raising their voice in a very aggressive tone, or it can be those punched a wall, or God forbid, there's some sort of physical altercation. That is not the only form of an explosion.
Yep.
Explosions also come in the silent treatment. Fucking silent treatment. I think there's nothing worse than the silent treatment. Or it comes in leaving a space without explanation. It comes in storming off, or it comes in isolating oneself. That is also an explosion. White anting or being snarky or snide to somebody is also an explosion. There are so many different ways an explosion happens. Essentially, an explosion is a type of behavior that isn't necessarily thought about or controlled. That's it. That's what it is. So if you're sitting there listening to this and you think, you're feeling a little smug, I don't explode.
Yeah, I don't get
They're not
violent.
talking to me.
I don't
punch
shout at
walls.
anybody.
Don't yell at anyone. I just get quiet. It's still an explosion.
I
You are
just don't
still
talk to anyone for 3
exploding.
days. I go shut myself in the shed for the weekend or the night or 4 hours or yeah. I think that's a fantastic point, Coxie. And this all starts with taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Because this whole thing of if you don't feel appreciated by someone in a relationship, we grow to resent them and generally drift apart from them. Now that could be a client business relationship. If the customer doesn't feel appreciated,
Yes.
they'll leave. If as the tradie, if we don't feel appreciated, we're not going to go back and work for that client again. Like that relationship breaks down.
Yes.
Take that concept and apply it to the relationship you have with yourself.
Yes.
If you don't appreciate yourself, your self-love, your self-relationship breaks down, but that gets projected onto the people around us.
Yeah.
So taking care of yourself actually means you get better at taking care of the people around you in ways that work for them, not in the ways that mean you get to avoid a conflict conversation or being assertive or saying no to a shit customer because you're too piss weak to actually say it, but then you just get the shits anyway with the wrong person. It all comes back to taking care of yourself. And Coxie and I see too many of you doing a shit job of it. Now, I talk about my stuff, and yes, I have episodes of this. And at my age, fortunately, those episodes are generally fairly few and far between. When you throw in a newborn at my age and a lack of sleep, it's made it much harder for me to stay on track with the self-care. And that's what's fallen away for me. I'm not getting enough sleep. Yep. I'm not doing as many WAS activities for myself. I haven't been hiking, which is one of my passionate activities, and I get out in the wilds and the clean air and sleep on the ground, all that stuff. I haven't done that for, I don't know, a year or something. So those things have all fallen away. I've allowed that to happen, but then that becomes a piss poor excuse for why I'm cranky or short-tempered or frustrated or a bit distant, and it just plays into this really crap dynamic.
So there you are. I can't actually fix you anyway, because what you need to do is go and have a weekend on your own and leave everybody alone and come back refreshed and renewed. And I don't need to fix you at all. You can fix yourself.
Now I have a full stop on the end of this story. It didn't really turn into a rant. It was really just me, vomiting over everybody. My wife actually said to me, "You haven't been on a hike on your own for years. You should go. We should make that happen." Now, I often spruik about, actually, I don't often spruik about my wife, but my wife's freaking awesome. And she understands all this stuff, and she's very proactive in trying to encourage me to go and do stuff for myself. But guess what I do? Guess what Waz does? He says, "I can't, I've got too much to do. That's not going to work. No, there's this and that, and I can't go away for 2 days for a quick hike up in the hills here in Tassie and do something that I absolutely love and that is always restorative and gets me back on track. I don't have time for that. There's too much to do here, but you're going to be here on your own with our boy and bullshit, because I'm trying really hard to perpetuate the victim mentality of I can't and it's too hard and it's ridiculous. And we all do it to ourselves.
So this entire episode was really just about you getting to the point of giving yourself permission to go on a fucking hike. That's what this is. Your
Cue the
gorgeous
social
wife-
media comments from people going, so Waz, have you gone on a hike? I guarantee our tradiepreneurs, because they love accountability, and something they love even more is serving it back to their coaches, I reckon. Of, hey, have you done that thing, mate? Are you gonna practice what you preach?
So you've outed yourself. You've managed to give yourself public permission to go on a hike sometime in the very near future. I guarantee your wife is going to be very happy because you're going to come home refreshed and renewed and less cranky worry.
She'll probably enjoy her time with our son and not have me snoring
Absolutely.
next to her in bed.
Remember what happened last time you traveled for work? And suddenly it
God,
was
yes.
like your gorgeous boy was happy to sleep the whole time you're away, but he'd given you nothing but drama the week before.
Piss off, Coxie.
Oh, I'm
You're
just
supposed to be
reminding
Nicole,
you.
not Karen. This is not a
No.
Karen episode.
I'm just reminding you, I'll help you organize you hike so that you can have some downtime because we all need it in our various forms.
We should end this episode before I turn the spotlight onto you, Nicole.
Thanks for listening.